uh, stepping stone to have God realization. So, what is it that makes him special? Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that topic today. So, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. We will get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru, like we always do. So, give me a sec. Let's get started. We share my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Hope you are. Okay, great. So we'll get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening to all of you once again. Let's get started. So we are on Shloka 4. And oops, did I get muted? No. Yeah. So we are on Shloka 4.5 is what we are doing, in which Lord Krishna is telling Arjun that both you and I have had many births. You have forgotten them while I remember them all. He's telling that to Arjun. So the fact that God is able to remember everything and we are not, that itself qualifies him as somebody special and different from us. Right? So we'll take this opportunity to know, go a little deeper into this topic. What makes God so special? Okay, why is God so special, and why don't we have all that God has until we become God realized? Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to recite this shloka. We will probably take 2 or 3 hands today. We have a hard stop today and a lot of stuff to cover. And I would like you to have your thinking caps on because we'll have a bit of an interaction here today to begin with. So maybe 3 hands we can take and get started with this one. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Bahuni Me Vyatitani Janmani Tava Charjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Na Tvam Vetha Parantapa. All right, have our co-hosts call out.
Yeah, Sandhya, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Sandhya.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bahuni me vyatitani Janmani tava cha Arjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Na Tvam Vetha Parantapa.
All right, thank you, Sandhya. Let's take a couple of more hands. Video on. Let's get the reference.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Sunita ji.
Radhe Radhe. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Natvam Veda Parantapa.
Very
Radhe
nice.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you so much.
Ragi ji.
Okay.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Ragi ji.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahuni Me Vyatitani Janmani Taucha Arjuna Taneham Veda Sarvani Natam Veda Parantapa.
Very nice.
Thank
you. Ragi ji. Okay, we can take one more hand, Riya ji, and then we'll get started.
Yeah. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bahuni me vyatitani Janmani tava charjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani न त्वं वेत्त परन्तप.
Very nice. Thank you, Riyachi. So let's get started on our topic. What we are going to discuss today is what makes God so special. Right? God knows all the births. We spoke about yesterday the difference between us and God. So of course, there are reasons why he's different from us, but we'll go a little deeper to see what makes him so special. So to start off with, I would like each one of you to do a silent contemplation on maybe 2 or 3 personalities in your life, right from your childhood all the way up to your current state or stage of life that you are in, 2 or 3 personalities that you have been impressed or attracted towards, and for what reason. Do a quick contemplation on that. This author, this person, this personality, I'd like to idolize this something, and think about the attribute, the personality and the attribute that attracted you towards that person. Okay. It could be anybody. Just 2 or 3. It's a quick mental exercise you can do, and think about which quality attracted you towards that person and what impressed you. Okay. So keep that at the back of your mind as we progress through our discussion today. All right. So this is what we are going to talk about today. So let's get started. We'll get started with a story or a joke, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So here is a bridge. You see the bridge? It's a nice bridge. So this is a bridge made up of wood, and you've seen the hanging bridges in India, a lot of places where it's barely hanging, but it has enough strength to let the passengers pass by, right? So on this bridge, there are a couple of, you see an elephant. So there's an elephant passing over this bridge, but it has some companions as well. On each one of its ears, it has one fly each. Okay, so this elephant is crossing over the bridge and with the flies on the ears. As you see, okay, it's important you pay close attention. Okay, what happens to the bridge? You see, this is what's going to happen to the bridge when an elephant passes over it. You see that? It's shaking. So when it shakes, there's a boy apparently, and an onlooker. He looks at it and he says, you know what? Boy, didn't these flies shake the bridge? So what would you tell this boy, or what do you think is going on here? Anybody? He's very impressed with the flies. He said, they have shaken the bridge here. Yes, Sandhya?
I mean, the boy is obviously overlooking the elephant, which is most likely the cause of the shaking of the bridge.
Right. So let's say in this case, yeah, very true. I mean, he's focusing on the flies and his understanding is not correct. Even though he might be seeing the elephant, but because the bridge shook and he saw the flies, he said, oh, these flies shook the bridge, and super impressed with that. Yes, Pallavi, Preetiji, please go ahead. I'm calling Pallaviji Preetiji and Preetiji Pallavi. Something is going on here. Yes,
No,
Preetiji, please.
it's perfectly fine. I'm just a speck of dust. I think the boy is oblivious to the profound.
Yeah, oblivious. Yes, that's true. I think that's a good word. And so let's say you said oblivious, so let's make it oblivious. You see this is oblivious now?
Okay.
So yeah, that's basically, now think the personalities that you spoke about, right? I asked you to contemplate upon some personalities that you have gotten attracted towards or impressed with. Of course, they will be having some attributes or qualities, right? So in their own way, they are also having the same impact of shaking the bridge, right? In some form or manner. So, and in this case, elephant, you saw, right? This elephant,
Mm.
who was shaking the bridge is also oblivious. Like you said, oblivious is not seen right now. So the flies were not the cause of shaking the bridge when the elephant manifests, or we are able to go back to the source part of it. it was truly the elephant, but oblivious or not visible or no perception of elephant, then obviously the flies will think the flies get all the credit around it. So it's something similar to that. So if you think about anything and anybody has in terms of qualities, right? What are the things that typically attract us? I'll throw out a few things, and you think about the mental exercise that you did, about the personality whom you have gotten impressed or attracted with, would invariably fall into one of these things. Either the person must be very intelligent, or the person might be good looking, or the person might be super rich, famous, powerful, renunciate, all these things, right? One of these attributes, anything outside of that, anybody has in mind, or other than these 5 or 6 things that I spoke about? Yes, Archana ji.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the humility and the honesty that really impresses me. And the examples that I had in my mind were based on that.
Humility, honesty, yes. Renunciation, yes. They all. So these virtues that we talk about, very true. So again, just a quick recap for the people who might have joined a little late. We started off with doing a mental exercise of personalities that have attracted you or you have gotten impressed with. And then we said we had a quick story where we have a bridge and we have these flies who are sitting on an elephant and the bridge is shaking, right? Bridge shook, and the boy who's an onlooker, he said, boy, didn't these flies shake the bridge? And in this case, the elephant is the reason for the shaking of the bridge. However, for an onlooker who is oblivious to the elephant or who doesn't have the perception of an elephant is thinking these flies are doing that. Okay. And then we said typically for us to get attracted towards anybody in this world, it could be a personality, thing, event, situation, whatever, it invariably falls into one of these categories. The other things that we get attracted to in this life, like starting with divine virtues, honesty, truthfulness. Somebody is a renunciate, becomes a monk, oh my God, he has given up everything in his life. Somebody has a lot of power, we get impressed with that, they're such a super achiever and at such a young age. Somebody is good looking, we get impressed with that. Somebody is rich, we think how much money that. So these are some of the things that do attract us, right, in this material world. So the elephant here is basically God, and the flies here is basically, okay, may not be very flattering for us, but the source of energy or anything that manifests in us is God. So let me try to explain it from another angle here. Okay, so for a naive person, it is the flies doing the job of shaking the bridge. But for an enlightened person, they understand who is actually providing just a spark of their splendor to enable that particular quality in that person, basically. So the source, going back to the source, it is God himself. Our scriptures tell us, let's go a little deeper into this concept. The epicenter, there's an epicenter for everything. Like you've heard this word during earthquakes, when it happens, Richter scale 6.7 and whatnot, and the epicenter was this particular location. And the epicenter typically has the maximum impact. So when we talk about epicenter, this is the epicenter, right? And then it has a ripple effect all around it. And the maximum impact being at the center of the epicenter. So in this case, right, this is the epicenter. This is how the waves and ripples emanate from it. Our scriptures say that all the things that impress you, why do they impress it? It gives us some kind of a mellow or a kick, wow. It is in Hindi or in Sanskrit, it is called ras, mellow in English. Okay, marshmallows, by the way. So that epicenter, ras sindhu, the focal point of that is God himself. Okay, it is all emanating from God. So he is the elephant below those flies, which were supposed to be shaking that bridge. Okay, so the ras sindhu, or anything that any quality that manifests in us, it is enabled or but a spark of the splendor of God himself. He's the ras sindhu for everything. So when we get attracted towards people, but people, when they start evolving spiritually, they go back to the source. They say divinity in people. It is the manifestation, a little tiny fragmental manifestation of my supreme God in that person. That is how they look at it. And even the people who exhibit those qualities, they start attributing it to the source. They understand. They are not. See, it's like if let's say the entire city is lighted up. There's a lot of light, across the entire city, and every house and building has light in it. Can they take credit for that? They have not created the light. It is the powerhouse through which that light is shining forth in each one of those buildings. So the powerhouse or the Ras Sindhu is God himself. That is what our scriptures are telling us. Now, that makes him special, but we have not gotten into the specifics of it. We'll get into that. So just bear with me. So now let's talk about this concept. We spoke about epicenter. We spoke about the cause of all causes, right? Including the manifestation of all the good qualities, which good qualities or the qualities that typically attract us, right? When we look at others, the source for that is God himself. And in the world, either there is a VIP, which is what we're going to talk about, very important person, or a WIP, okay, which is what? Some people read it as W is 22V, very, very important person. VIP is very important person. Apparently, this is W, it's not double V. Okay, and which means it's called a work in progress, as you see that. Now, VIP, the only special person, because the different is God himself, okay, or God realized saints. We'll talk about that. And from regular people's standpoint, it is work in progress. It is work in progress towards VIP stage that most of the people are in. So when we do sadhan bhakti, the devotion that we are doing or investing spiritually, it is a WIP endeavor to become VIP one day. Okay, VIP is only when you become God realized. Until then, we continue to be a VIP, but that VIP is called very insignificant person. Okay, VIP is very, very insignificant person. However, because Maya is one of the energies of God, when we get a little bit of it, somebody is endowed with a little bit of fame, little bit of power, little bit of money, little bit of beauty, all of this is temporary, right? Then they start becoming VIP of another sense, very indulgent person. So we cannot underestimate the power of Maya in that sense. So although we are very insignificant for people, when we truly look at ourselves in perspective, that is born out of humility. But these things can corrupt us. And the power of Maya, we can't underestimate. That makes us a VIP of another sense, very indulgent person. And that is why we are all VIPs. Not only insignificant, which we don't have a realization of at this point, but also indulgent. And indulgent means that whatever we are doing right now is for our self-gratification. Okay. And when we do something for our self-gratification and not for the pleasure of God, then it has a binding effect. Binding karmas come out of that only. So Karam Yoga is all about taking the motivation behind your work for your own enjoyment to the pleasure of God. When we do that, then it is not a binding karma. But when we do something for our own sake, for our sense gratification, for fueling our pride, for massaging our ego, for enjoying for self, then it becomes VIP, very indulgent person, and there's a karmic aspect to it as well. But the point is, we are WIPs, work in progress, and the special person only is God or a God realized saint. Until then, we are not special. Okay, we are special in our own sense because God has given us certain abilities. But truly special, if we want to become it, we have to become God-realized in that sense, right? It is said God has given us gifts, all of us is gifts, unique gifts. That is God's gift to us. So that script that we are endowed with when we are born is God's gift to us. And when we realize that script and end up, serving God for his pleasure, that is our gift back to him. But problem happens when we start utilizing that gift for ourselves and then start getting entangled in karmic bondage. Okay, so that is how this concept goes. Now let's get started with what are the speciality, why is God so special? Okay, now only the Supreme God possesses the power to reveal his Virat Swarup, enormous form. Can anybody do that? Nobody can do that. I think there was a reason he did that, because tomorrow if somebody will come and claim himself as God, then one of the tests we can subject them to, can you show me your cosmic form? Now, we do show our cosmic form in a different sense, when we become angry, but that is truly not a cosmic form, okay? The cosmic form of God can only be exhibited by God. So that is the first and litmus test, only God can show it. Okay. And can we see that? We cannot see that unless he gives us a divine vision like he gave it to Arjun, because he was qualified. He was not only his devotee, but his friend as well. In Sakha Bhav, he worshipped him. Now, we may say that we are developing those bhavs, but let's understand, because a few of, I get these questions that I want to know that whether I'm God realized. So we may get a momentary viragya from this world or a momentary bhav. Okay, so if that is coming, it is a good thing. But unless that is persisting and perpetually with you, then you're not God realized. Okay, and if you underestimate the power of Maya, you could again go back to the world. Okay, so that doesn't mean you have become God realized. It's a journey. If you're perpetually in bliss and your bhav is ever increasing, ever fresh, and you are having perfect knowledge and everything, then it is a God realization state, and it's a pretty advanced stage. So we should not get confused with intermittent stages that happen in our life, thinking, okay, I've become detached from the world. It may be a kshanik viragya, which happened to Sugriv also, right? When he told to Ram, take me with you, my brother is killed, what am I going to do with all this stuff? And then Ram said, Mitra, you have kshanik viragya, go back and rule your kingdom, and you'll be fine. And then within 3 months he was enjoying his kingdom. He was doing bhog vilas and enjoying the dance. So momentary things happen that cannot be construed for you have arrived or you have gotten enlightened or you become God realized. So the first thing that makes God special is the Aishwarya Shakti. Nobody has that. What is that Aishwarya Shakti? His majesty, the Aishwarya, is limitless. It is infinite. During his descension, Lord Krishna revealed his ultimate divine form, which is called Virat Swarup. And then he has innumerable Brahmans. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in next slide. And their respective governors, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and millions of suns, moons, fire, etc. reside in him. That is his Aishwarya Shakti. When he was caught eating dirt at Brahmand Ghat in Gokul, Mother Yashoda has mighty form in his tiny mouth. She could see the entire cosmos in his mouth, including watching him inside his mouth. Okay, that is the Aishwarya Shakti of God. By the way, Aishwarya Shakti of God is banned in Braj. It is banished. But still, because it's his power, the job of the servant is to serve its master. So chupke, secretly it comes and helps its master, especially when it thinks its master is in trouble. And at that point, it was truly in trouble because Yashoda was wielding a stick. And when God does his Leela, through his Yogamaya power, he makes himself forget. And also the mother forget that he's the divine personality. So he's truly getting scared. And master is getting scared, his Aishwarya Shakti comes in, right, to help his master. And then Krishna said, you are not allowed here, go. He made mother forget after that. But his Aishwarya Shakti was there. Okay, it's always there with him. Then before the battle of Mahabharat, when he went as a royal ambassador to Pandavas, to the court of Kauravas in Hastinapur, there also he revealed his divine form. Right? Have you heard about that Leela? He actually revealed his divine form there as well. Unfortunately, Duryodhan, he said he's probably a cousin of Harry Potter. Okay, he considered him as a sorcerer or some kind of a chalya. He did not honor it. So if we are not pure, we could also end up doing that. Maybe somebody playing some tricks and stuff. He actually revealed that form. Bhishma and all could appreciate that, Duryodhan could not. So he did reveal that. Then in the battle of Kurukshetra, he did it to Arjun and showed his divine form. And Arjun was like, can you please come back to your original form? I cannot comprehend it. I cannot take it. It's making me fearful. So many people are getting inside as a Mahakal, and then new souls are coming in. So when God shows his cosmic forms, you can only imagine, everything and anything that is happening in this universe is being not orchestrated, but he's the source of everything, right? And then after the battle of Mahabharata also, while returning to Dwarka on his way, he revealed his form to Uttanka Muni. So multiple times there are precedences where God has revealed his cosmic form to lay this argument to rest, that anybody claims who is God, you can ask this question, can you show me your cosmic form? And do you have the ability to bestow divine vision on me where I can perceive your divine form? They may say, I have it, but you can't see it. Then say, you have the ability to give me momentary divine vision as well. Okay. And then if you think you have become God realized, then do you have the ability to show your cosmic form? If you don't have it, then you have not become God realized. It's a very simple test. Okay. So that is there. So let's talk about the Brahmands part of it now. Let's put into perspective this creation. right? We think about our earth and all that system. It's a dot within a dot within a dot within a dot. Okay, let's try to put it in perspective, the infinite brahmands that I spoke about. Okay, so this is a little bit of an illustration of the brahmand. So let's say this is the entire material universe. Material universe I'm talking about. So within that, okay, what happened? Okay, let's put everything together here only. That will become very complicated. All right. So if you go look at on the left hand side, the oval, within the oval shape, the circles that you see are the different universes. Ours is the smallest universe. See, universe itself, universe is a term. When you say multiple universes, that seems like an oxymoron, multiple and then you saying universe, but that is how it is. It is actually multiverses. Ours is the smallest universe. Similar to that, there are multiple universes, and each universe has its own Brahmaji, its own Vishnu, and own Maheshji. And all of this put together, multiverses, and our Brahmaji is only 4-headed. The other universes have 10-headed, 20-headed, 50-headed, 100-headed, million-headed, trillion-headed, infinite-headed, I don't know how many Brahmas, those kind of things. And all of this put together is material universe is only 1/4 of God's creation, only 1/4. It is a prison house for the conditioned souls like us who want to enjoy Maya, who are too enchanted with Maya and the little mellow that Mike things give us from time to time, temporary mellow. It is a prison house for that. Now, if prison were to be the entire creation, prison house, then God would have done a very terrible job, right? Even in this world, the prison house is a very small part of this creation, right? The city has a prison, but it's a very small fragment of a small portion of that city. The city itself has a big existence. Similarly, this is just 1/4 of God's creation. Beyond that comes his spiritual creation, which is called Parvyom Lok, which is beyond Birja River. So there is a cusp. The cusp or the interface is Birja River, where Brahmaleen people reside. And then the Parvyom Lok comes, where Saket Lok, Vaikunt Lok, Go Lok, Shiv Lok, Devi Lok exists, depending upon how you worship God as your Ishtadev. If you worship God as formless Brahman, you go up to Birja River. If you worship God in his form, then you go up to Parvyom Lok. And the loka that you go into is decided by the Isht in which you have, the form of the Isht in which you have perfected your devotion. So if you have done Jai Mata Di, you go to Devi Lok. If you've done Om Namah Shivaya, Bam Bam Bole, and perfected you go to Shiv Lok. If you have done Sita Ram, you go to Saket Lok. And if you have done Krishna Bhakti, you go to Param Dham, which is called Golok, which is his personal form where he gives Prem Dhan there. Okay. So Vaikunt is where, if you do it in Shant Bhav, you go to his Narayan form, which is in Vaikunt form. So this is the complete creation. And each Brahmand, if you look at it now, if you zoom in on the right hand side, there are multiple lokas. We are in the center, middle planet, Bhulok. Then you have Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, Patal, and 28 Narakloks. And then you have upper planets, right? Bhuva Lok, Swarlok, Maharlok, Janalok, Tapolok, Satyalok, all the way up to Brahmalok. So that is in every Brahmand. And the Satyalok is basically the Brahmalok where Brahmaji resides. So this is the entire creation. So you can just imagine the mind-boggling creation that we have, and our existence in the grand scheme of things is just a dot within a dot within a dot within a dot within a dot. And look at God. He's not only special, but he can make you special as well. That is the very definition of God. Even though you are a dot within a dot within a dot within a dot, he said, I will make you like me. And that is why he keeps on giving us that opportunity. And he's willing to give us all of his power the day we become eligible for it, which basically means becoming truly good, cleaning ourselves up. Yes, Rahul?
Yeah, there is a question in the chat from Sri Ramya ji that how to map these lokas to our planetary system.
To the planetary system, we are just in our Bhulok, okay? Our Earth is rotating around Sun. And then our solar system is rotating around another constellation. And that constellation is, Saur Mandal is all rotating around another. So our planetary system is like, again, a dot. It's like a grain of sand on a sea beach. Let me put it that way. So solar system is like, again, a dot within a dot within. Solar system itself is rotating around another, and then another, and then another. So we have no clue about our solar system. Forget about our own universe. And when we talk about other universe, that's another ball game altogether. So our solar system itself, or our planetary system itself, is a very small speck in within our universe itself. And if we consider it amongst all the universes, it's pretty insignificant. That's why I said, even I'm not even talking about our Earth, not even our solar system. Even if our universe, our entire universe of our Brahma Ji is wiped off from this creation, it will not even cause an accounting error in the grand scheme of things. That is how small it is. Okay, the entire creation. Yes, Rahul, anything else?
Another follow-up question. Does complete solar system come under Bhulok?
Yeah, it's under Bhulok only. Our solar system comes under Bhulok only. Entire our universe itself, basically, if you look at it. Not universe, basically. Okay, hold on. I think you asked a good question. So solar system or Earth comes under Bhulok, I don't know. Our Earth definitely comes under that. Whether our solar system or constellation comes under that, I don't know. I can check that out. But the point here to be understood is our universe has upper planets. Our solar system does not. We don't have the technology to go to the upper planets, right? God only places a soul based on, the karmas and all. And we don't have the technology to transcend beyond our creation or limited scope that we have. I don't know how far science has progressed right now. Probably we have gone up to Mars right now, but we don't have an ability to go to higher lokas within our universe itself. And whether our solar system entire technically is considered within Bhulok or not, I don't know. Earth, definitely, I know. Okay, so that's moot point. Let's try to appreciate. This is the Aishwarya Shakti of God, okay, who God is, and he's permeating every atom of this creation. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam, right? He's permeating every atom of this universe. That is how grand God is, okay? But then he's simplifying it for us. He simplified it for us by taking on his avatars in his personal form and giving us a basis to build a connect with him. Otherwise, how will we build a connect with God? If we continue to think we are insignificant, he's so high, we don't even have an access to a prime minister of our country, and here we are talking about president of all the universes, right? Jagatpati, Brahmand Nayak. How do we do it? So if we keep his Aishwarya Chintan in mind, we will only have awe, reverence, and we'll see he is so far off. He's not boy next door. So God said, I'll become boy next door for you by taking on avatar. Let me simplify it for you. Just do my worship, do simple things, and then I'm willing to work with you to clean you, and then eventually give you all that I have to give you. Okay, that is how this process goes. All right, so this is the Aishwarya part. Aishwarya, let me continue a little bit more on the Aishwarya part of God, because we are talking why God is so special. So yeah, we'll cover at least a few things today. So furthermore, when he was 6 days old, he killed the ferocious demoness Putana. I mean, can anybody kill that as a 6-year-old? No. So that is why Krishna Avatar is special, because he was in full form right from day one. Which kid would do a jailbreak right on when he's born? Krishna did that. See, Ram Bhagwan Ji started doing his Leela, Vauganda Leela and all when he picked up Dhanush Band, when he grew up, right? Because it was a Maryada avatar. Krishna said, okay, no barriers whatsoever. I am going to be in full form right from day one. He did a jailbreak. Then 6 days old, he killed Putana. And then what are the other things? He killed many demons like Trinavarth in his infancy and childhood, right? That tornado demon. Our little one likes him. So he killed those as when he was a kid. When Mother Yashoda tried to tie him to a stone, she tied all the ropes in Braj, and then yet they fell 1 inch short to his little body. Okay, so the deeper secret behind that is, like Maharaj Ji explains, he's Purna Purushottam Brahma. You can't tie him, right? Because he's the cause of all causes. If somebody could encapsulate him, then that means that person, that entity is bigger than him. Nothing is bigger than God. So you can't tie him up just like that. Okay, so this Leela is actually, if you think the deeper part of it, tying Brahma is not possible. Everything will fall short of that because he's the cause of all causes, right? Until, of course, his Yogamaya power, which is Radharani, gave a rope, and then he got tied. So there are deeper things, if you go from a philosophical standpoint, understand all these leelas have a deeper meaning as well. So she could not tie him, no matter how many ropes she did. And then he assumed millions of forms simultaneously at the time of Maharaj. Millions of forms. Okay, which he was with each eligible soul at that point, not just one. Okay, that is, he can expand. That is again through his Aishwarya Shakti. And on the way to Mathura, he revealed his form to Vishnu, sleeping on Shesh serpent to Akrur. He revealed that form to him as well. Naradji saw him with all the 16,108 queens at the same time. You know, there's a prasang in Bhagavatam where Naradji says, okay, let me check out how Krishna daily routine is. So he goes to him and Krishna meets him with each queen. Okay, Naradji, please come, welcome. And some he's doing a bath, he's coming down somewhere, he's sitting. So the same thing, he's living with each queen in his palace, and only God can do that, right? And then eating 2 handful of puffed rice, he endows 2 lokas to Sudama. Okay, who has that kind of an ability? 2 lokas gifted. See, when we gift a house or a car to somebody, we think we have done something great. God has an ability to give lokas in trade for 2 puffed of rices. So that is his Aishwarya Shakti. And then when Draupadi was being disrobed by Dushasan, we know the Ambar avatar happens, right? We don't, so only God can do that. And that makes him so special. So this is just one of the things I'm touched upon. Maybe I'll touch upon one more before we go further, because God is special and we need to understand why. Righteousness, if we talk about righteousness, I think Kalpanaji, who brought in that part, honesty, and that also attracts us, right? So Aishwarya Shakti definitely attracts us in this world. God has it perpetually to an infinite extent. If we have something, we have it to a finite extent, that too temporarily. When God has it, he has it perpetually, infinitely, and permanently, right? Perpetually means permanently anyways. Righteous, he's righteous as well. At the age of 11, he fulfilled his duty of liberating his parents who were being kept hostage by cruel cunts from the jail. So there are enough examples. All the 6 sons of Devaki, they were with Bali, and he brought them back and returned them to Devaki temporarily. Okay, he did that Leela as well. He mastered all the 64 branches of knowledge when he went to Sandipani Muni, for the sake of Lok Maryada, that he has to approach a guru as well, although he's the Param Guru himself. Within 64 days, he did that. He washed the feet of Sudama, an ordinary Brahman, with his tears. Right? Brahmans, when they come, that used to be a ritual or a protocol or a decorum to do that, and he actually did that for his friend Sudama with his tear. So he will follow the protocols that are needed. And then he served the mother cause so much that he got an epithet as Gopal, protector of cause. He got that name as well. And then when Yudhishthir hosted Rajasuya Yagya, that he became the universal servant. You know what Krishna took the job of? Welcoming the guest, picking up, serving them, and picking up the food after them and stuff like that. He washed the feet of all the invited Brahmins and also picked up their used leaf plates. That is the work he was doing. Okay. Then what other quality does he have? Now the other part of that attracts us is glory, yash. Now who can illustrate the story of Krishna, who is venerated by innumerable? So if you go back to our scriptures, Lord Brahma, who is the topmost Jnani, Lord Vishnu, who's the president of this universe, they have multiple prayers about him. Okay. And including our celestial gods, Indra, Kuber, and all that part. And the great saints, if you look at the history of all the saints, Jagat Gurus, like starting from Shankaracharya ji, Nimbarkacharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and Kripaluji Maharaj, all the Rasik saints, Hit Harivansh, they have all sung glories of him day and night. That is how much yash or fame that he possesses. Okay, the big Jagat Gurus have come down and not stopped raving about his glories. Prosperity, when it comes to prosperity, the Kuber is at his feet. The Shri, or the consort of Mahalakshmi, whom we worship on Diwali, only the wife, not the husband. Okay, people do it for husband as well, but Lakshmi, whom we worship and whom we dearly hold so close to our hearts, she's actually the Mahalakshmi is the consort of God himself. Okay, and the fact that Lord is able to give lokas in a jiffy, that means everything is under his thumb, right? When it comes to Kuber or the infinite Lakshmi that we are talking about. Knowledge Gyan, he's the Param Guru, right? This Gita Gyan is coming from him as well. And he's the one who gives us the ability to understand it as well. He did that for Arjun on the battlefield, and he's doing it for us as well, if any of the concepts are clicking to you from Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And because he's the source of perfect knowledge, and he has the ability to make that Gyan, Vigyan. Gyan is theoretical knowledge, Vigyan is a realized knowledge. So that gap, he has the ability to bridge it for you, residing within you. So these are some of the things that make God so special. And last but not the least, we'll talk about detachment, Vairagya. Amidst all of these, he's completely renunciate, detached. to this whole process. Okay, there's a Leela, I'll talk probably about it if we get time. Now, after killing Kans, he's the ruler of Mathura, never decided to rule Mathura, didn't matter to him, Flute playing, given a choice, he would have probably done that only. Now he's dancing with 100 million gopis, yet remained self-complacent, self-satisfied, and not even overcome by lust or any of that feeling. Okay, completely detached to that process. 16,800 wives, with each wife he had 10 progeny. So you can calculate how many kids he have. Multiply it, okay? And these kills, they killed each other and he was not overcome by grief. In fact, he had told that is going to happen because they are overcome by pride and stuff. So let go of them. So anyways, he was a complete renunciate as well. There's a Leela, beautiful Leela in Bhagavatam as well, where gopis, when they go to Krishna, they said that we need to serve 1,000 Brahmins. I think they had done a fast and they had to serve 1,000 Brahmins or something like that. So where to find so many Brahmins? So Krishna said, you go and serve Durvasa Muni. And if you serve him, it is equivalent to serving 1,000 Brahmins. You just go and do that. So the gopis say, but then there is Yamuna on the way and Durvasa is on the other side. How do we cross over Yamuna? Because it is overflowing. So Krishna said, just tell them if Krishna is Akhand Brahmachari, give me way. So Gopi started laughing. He said, we know that he's teasing us, chasing us, right? Having playful times with us. And how can he be Akhand Brahmachari? But he said, nevertheless, we'll go and try it out. When it doesn't happen, we'll come back to him. It's his problem. So they go and tell Yamuna, if he's Akhand Brahmachari, give us way. And guess what? Yamuna gives its way. That means that is the state of Krishna's mind. Anyways, while coming back, now gopis have prepared a lot of food for Durvasa. And Durvasa used to have this much, blade of grass kind of food. Now they are prepared with so much love like we do, right? Now eat, eat, eat. They also started force feeding him. Right? Like we do that when somebody guests come to our home. They said we are prepared, and Durvasa, to keep, make them happy, they said he started eating all of it. Okay. And then again, they had to come back and they said, okay, Yamuna is overflowing. What do we do now? So Durvasa said, tell Yamuna, if Durvasa has eaten only this much doob of grass, then give me way. And gopis again were zapped. They said, we saw him eating, devouring like a hog. How can it happen? Anyways, they went and tried it. They said, Yamuna, if Durvasa has eaten only this much, give us way. Yamuna gave it way. So the point is, you are where your mind is, not what you are doing from outside. So if you analyze gods from his external leelas, you'll miss out on the point. We don't know what the state of mind in that particular, of God is, or for that matter, a saint has. So that is what we are, and he's the complete renunciate in that sense. He's going to tell in Bhagavad Gita this point, it's like he's untouched by Maya completely. So that is some of the things that make God special. I know there are a lot of other things, but just to illustrate the point of the discussion that we are having today, I'll take a quick pause now and take any questions that you may have and any announcements that we need to make. Yes, I see a few hands.
Yeah, Rahul bhai, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Rahul.
Radhe Radhe Vivekji. So there is a question interesting question in the chat from Ladduji. Which two lokas did Shri Krishna give Sudama, and does Sudama still own them?
So it's an interesting question, but I'll give you a very boring answer to an interesting question. I don't know which lokas he gave. And I think, with Sudama, what happened? Sudama actually, even when he came back to his house, he had a big palace and knocker, chakar, and he was like the complete picture had changed at his home, right? He was a very poor guy and everything had changed back at his home. And he understood, Krishna has done that. So he said, I will continue to live a life of a renunciate. So he continued to live a life of a renunciate like a poor man sleeping on the floor, not on the cushy Dunlop mattresses and stuff like that. He continued his life like that. He did not avail even a single thing that Krishna had given him. Right? Even though Krishna had started giving him everything and Rukmini had to intervene, but Krishna would have given his Golok also, who knows? But I don't know. That's a good question, which two lokas he gave him. But I don't think Sudama bothered about it or cared about it or even used it for his own pleasure for the rest of his life.
Yeah, Sandhya,
Yes.
Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, I mean, this is regarding what makes God so special. Like, I think you've mentioned it, but I still wanted to again say this thing, right? Om Purnamidam Purnamadam Purnat Purnamadach. So that thing, like being infinite and nothing can reduce. I mean, and complete. Like even if you take out anything, it will just remain the same and complete. So
True.
that's only God. Nothing else can be that, right? That's very
Very
special.
true. Purnamidam, yeah, Purnamadai, Uchyate, I think. I forgot.
Udachyate punasya purnamādaya.
He's complete in himself. So even if you take a part out of it, that is also complete in itself. And technically going back, if we were truly the part of God, we would have been perfect as well. But we are not the direct part of God. We are part of his Jiva Shakti, his Tatastha Shakti, and that is why we are Anusat, Anuchitan, Anuanand. However, we can become Satchitanand when he gives us the power. And that power is given to us when we have the eligibility. And that eligibility is of having Antakaran, a purified Antakaran. And that purified Antakaran can only happen with God's grace. And God's grace can only come through perfect Sharanagati. And perfect Sharanagati can only happen via the grace of Guru. So these are all interlinked concepts. Okay, hope it makes sense. Yes, Kumarji.
Kumarji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radha Kumarji.
Jai Shri Ram. The story I have heard is that Sudama, of course, does not ask anything of Krishna. He's just in bliss when he's with Krishna. And then when he comes back, instead of his hut or his humble place, he sees a palatial place. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He saw a palatial place. However, he never utilized it for his own gratification. He continued to live a life of a renunciate.
Okay, so he didn't get any loks or something, right?
The lokas also I've heard, but whether he got or not, he never used it is what is the key thing here.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. He got it, or Krishna was about to and Rukmini intervened, I don't know. But the point here is, he's like, he has the ability. See, we were talking about his powers, right? He has the ability to give lokas or trade it for a puff of rice given to him by love. That's the whole point. Whether he got lokas or not, I mean, it's a moot point. So, but he never used it. He continued to live like a renunciate. Yes, Ajitji.
Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Actually, you said this Bolok is equivalent to jail.
Yes.
But we see that man is has made progress tremendously on technological side and made our life comfortable.
Right.
Whatever we wish, we are able to do it. So this is little irony. Please reply.
Okay, got it. Yeah, we are make technological advancements and all that stuff, which is great. Humans, we the endeavor of all the human progress is towards making our life more comfortable, right? So that is the one aspect of it only. Has it made us happier? Has it made us realize our true potential as humans? No, it will not until you break out of this jail itself. So it's like you have jails, different categories of jail. The jail that we are in is an iron jail. Then if you go to Swarglok and all, it is called golden jail. If you go to Naraklok, I think even further. But the fact is they are all under Maya. And you will continue to be tormented with the effects of Maya, which is you will continue to be under the sway of three gunas. Can you conquer anger? Has humans figured out a technology to conquer anger? No. Anger, greed, lust, envy. Can we beat stress? Do we have a technology to beat stress other than aligning to spiritual technology? No. So Trigun, Tritap, can we prevent tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, and coronavirus? Few grams of virus brought this entire universe, our entire planet down on its knees. So much so for technological advancements you're talking about. Can we prevent that? No. Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, Dosh, Tritap, we cannot. So we can continue to make an endeavor to make our lives comfortable. But the bottom line is it's still a prison house of God, because you are not getting out of this jail until you surrender to God and get out of this matrix altogether. And there are different level of luxuries. Our technological advancement is nothing in front of what celestial gods do. Okay, their Vimans can go around in a jiffy. They have access to dimensions where they don't even need other Vimans to transport themselves from one plane to another plane. Okay, they do just Few things like you've seen Narayan, and he's roaming around in the entire universe. So, but the material world as such is called a prison house of God for the conditioned souls. And what does conditioned means? Conditioned means who have not yet surrendered to God, who are still making endeavors to extract happiness from this world itself, and who are intellectually not yet convinced that true happiness lies in God. I hope I answered your short question with a long answer, which kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Ajitji,
Yeah.
if you're there.
Ajitji, are you there? Please raise your hand. I cannot see you. In the meantime, Dyasini, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. No, I just want to add, I agree to Nitin Bhaiya, and I just want to add, it's just a small example. Like previously, messages was being sent through pigeons or postman, but right now messages are being sent through WhatsApp, which reduces the patience level because we expect reply within 1 or 2 minutes, and we are not ready to wait like before, days after days. So it reduces the patience level of our mind. So I agree with you, Nitin Bhaiya, that technology have make our lives comfortable, but it haven't it haven't made a progress in within ourselves. It is not able to. So that's it.
Yeah. And for all see, end of the day, God has given us potential, right? And then he's given us technologies also. He's given us material technologies, which can be harnessed as best as we can, right? It can be harnessed infinitely. And then he's given us spiritual technology. If we continue to focus only on material technology, we are doing ourselves a disservice. As divine souls, there's a spiritual potential also. But if we are comfortable making our life comfortable within the jail itself, and we think that is good enough, that's our choice. And that's probably why we are repeating here. But if we think, end of the day, I have to find a key out of this jail because I'm still where I started off with. Even if you become the president of this world, you think that you are more happy or happier than anybody else? No, you'll still have to contend with all the imperfections of Maya. Okay. Old age, birth, old age, disease, and death. Can we escape that? In the material, we cannot. We don't have a technology even to turn a white hair into a black. For all the technological advancements that we have made, we cannot create life. We can create life, but from scratch we cannot. Right? We cannot create something as simple as blood. Not simple, even though you can resolve it into a bunch of chemicals. So yes, material aspect, advancement is one aspect of it, but spiritual advancement is another aspect of it, and both are bona fide sciences that we have to link. Just because we are advancing materially does not mean that our constitutional position of being located at a prison house of God changes. We are still at a prison house, even if we go up to Brahmalok. Yes, maybe we can take a couple of. I can see a few new hands. Kumarji, Ramaji, please go ahead. I think we have a hard stop today, so maybe 9 more minutes.
Okay, yeah. Radhe Radhe Nitinji.
Radhe Radhe.
Yes. Actually, I had 3 questions, but if time doesn't permit, you can answer them maybe tomorrow. My first question is Krishna consciousness different from Krishna? I mean, is there a difference?
Krishna consciousness different from Krishna?
Because everything is vibration, yes. So what the union of the soul with the divine, is that of a union of with the consciousness, with the supreme consciousness, which we call the Krishna consciousness? I hope I can.
Yeah, I'm getting your question. So,
yes.
Okay, we'll talk about, it's a little deeper concept. Let's talk a little more about it. So the union of the soul, see, what we are talking is a little deeper than that as well. So one part of it is becoming union with the soul, which is merging with God himself, right? Which is called moksha, nirvana, so to say.
Yes.
Okay. In which you lose your essence completely. You are one with God, that point. Okay. Okay. That is one way of realizing God.
Okay.
Higher than that is retaining your identity and being able to interact and serve God. We are talking about that happens only in bhakti, where you are one with God and yet different from it. You have the bliss of God and yet you have an ability to interact with him or serve him. Okay, that is even higher state, which can only be, which is called Premanand. It is not Brahmanand. What you're talking about is Brahmanand, where you just merge with God and attain that supreme consciousness. But then you lose your identity at that point. Although you're different, but you do not have the ability to interact or taste the bliss of God at that point by interacting with him. So it's like a honeybee wants to taste honey and ends up becoming honey only. But when you continue to sustain yourself as a honeybee, of course, a divine honeybee from a material honeybee, and continue to taste the honey, that is called Premanand, which is much higher than attaining or merging with the God itself. Maybe we can have a little more discussion on it because it's a little nuanced topic. So we'll get into that concept. What were your other question? Maybe one more.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. Yes, that's the Premanand one I'm attracted to. Okay,
Sure, we
I
can
got
talk
it
more. You
now.
can put it in the turn and we can maybe have an offline
Okay,
conversation
okay,
as well.
okay.
Let's make a quick, thank you for that. Quick announcements, Rahul, because we have 4 more minutes. And then if you have question related to this
Thank you.
topic, you can take in tomorrow. Please put it in the feedback tracker.
Okay, thank you, Nitin.
No worries. Rahul, we had some announcements to make because we have
Yes.
another stop today, right?
Yeah, so the main announcement is about the upcoming Dallas Yoga Fest. And then the next one is the big event which we'll be having at RKT is the family camp, which will be happening from July 4th. I think all the details are already there in the chat, but those are the 2 major announcements which we have, especially the Yoga Fest, which is coming up.
Yoga Fest and Family Camp. And Yoga Fest, great speakers are going to come up every year. There's so much of wealth of information that is provided, and spiritual speakers come as well. So it's a holistic health, but we get to hear so many spiritual speakers as well. So do check it out. And it is always has a keynote speech from Swamiji. I think it's on 17th this time around. So do check it out. Tag your calendars for that. And then Family Camp, I look forward to meeting you in person if you're making it there. So I'm looking forward to it as well. Okay, maybe one more question we can take before we wrap up then. Yes, Sandhya. Nothing more?
Just not a question, but just wanted to add this, that certain technological advances which can help us in our devotional and spiritual journey, such as these Zoom-based classes, are also enabled by God only. So that's another perspective that we can have with respect to these, right?
True. See, technology, it's only because of technological advance we are able to have these sessions and we are able to interact seamlessly and even see each other smile, right? And send hearts. So it's only because of technology. So material science has its place and material science, but then material science does not have the ability to take us across or out of this prison house. We have to utilize it as a stepping stone and not think of it as be all of everything. It's just a stepping stone to enable us for something much higher, right? So yes, thank you for pointing that out. And then all the technological advances that we are making, you can utilize pretty much everything to basically as a stepping stone towards your spiritual progress in that sense. Thank you for bringing that out. Yes, one more question maybe.
Kumarji, yeah, Radhe.
Yeah, Jai Shri Ram. So just like Shabri's story in Ramayana, right? Sudama's stories also kind of gives me the goosebumps when I hear about it. It kind of makes me be on a higher plane. That's how we should be. Having said that, I just want to mention something which I read on the internet because I was interested. What did Sudama really get, right? So, and then I'm going to add with a few embellishments of my own.
Sure.
So
we have 60 seconds before the next
60 seconds, yeah. When Sudama came back, suddenly he saw a palace there. And I'm like, what happened? My house was here, my little hut was here, and suddenly there's a palace. And, in India, what happens is if you leave your home for some time, some person comes and occupies it and then builds their own house. So he probably thought that. But no, some people he knew were there. Then suddenly one beautiful lady came and hugged him and was very affectionate. And I'm like, what happened? Am I in Bhulok or Indralok? Right? Then it was his wife. So God did perform 2 miracles there as well. 3 miracles, actually. Thanks,
Yes.
Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you, Kumarji, for that anecdote. Beautiful. Yeah, maybe we can make a good story out of it. Okay, next time. You gave me some ideas here. Thank you so much. You're welcome to, you can stay back for the next session now. Over to you, Sunilji and Prakashji or Ajay Bhai.
Yes, thank
I
you.
look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and please fill out the feedback tracker as well in the meantime. Radhe Radhe from my side.
Radhe Radhe Nitin Bhai, thank you for that. And of course, we do need Kumarji for his sense of humor. He loves. So Kumarji, stay back, and everybody, please do stay back.